Hey guys, back to talk to you a little bit more about marketing, and we're going to talk about leveraging meetup groups, webinars, and really podcasts too, as a way to reach your target market and really emphasize yourself as an expert inside the field, which is another subject that we're going to talk about. So, how can you use meetup.com or a meetup group to successfully reach your target? Well, there's two different ways. First, you can host your own meetup and list it on the site. There is a fee involved to be an organizer with Meetup. And there's a lot of time and dedication that goes into that because you're going to need branding for all your events. You need to engage with the people that are part of your meetup group and provide a real value so that these folks come out to the meetup. So it's a little bit more difficult and more time consuming, but you have a lot more control, obviously, and can really present yourself as an expert inside the field. If you don't quite have the time to do that, to set aside, then I recommend joining an existing meetup group, both inside of Hemp and outside of Hemp. Really as many as you can that you can successfully attend on a regular basis, a consistent basis. You want to be able to attend with this group at least once a quarter, if not more. So don't overwhelm yourself with the number of groups, but make sure that you are consistent and you're showing your face. If you can reach out into a leadership role, then that's even better inside of these groups. So also a great way, meetup groups are a great way to make connections. You can look for someone that has an importance to your brand, someone you've wanted to meet. Someone in the community that you've wanted to meet. Look where they might be speaking and then go out and you can engage them, because a lot of time meetup groups are usually, I would say, between 20 and 30 attendees is a fairly large meetup group. So this gives you an opportunity to talk one-on-one to people and other hosts, which you might be able to make partnerships with in the future. Now, if you're going to host your own event, here are some tips. Finding a venue. Look where other people have hosted meetups, and then you can sort of see people that are willing to host free events. Also, you want to look close to your retail shop if you are a retailer or your office, because like we've mentioned earlier, people in general buy within a 3-mile radius around their location. So you want to be attending a meetup group or find a venue in a spot that's that close as well. Maybe one of your neighbors, maybe a coffee shop. Find someone who wants to bring in people. And generally you can find this space for free in exchange for them buying drinks or buying food or something like that. Next, you want to choose appealing topics every time. You don't want it to just be like CBD education meetup, because there are so many of those. Maybe if you're in a small town that can help you stand out, but in more urban areas and as the space becomes more crowded, it's going to get harder and harder to pull people in with just simple education. So you want to find meaningful topics that are very specific. You can find speakers for these topics, which will pull in a whole nother group of people into your meetup group. Find these from other meetup organizers. They could be nonprofits. They could, be speaking for industry groups, wholesalers, consultants, people that have some sort of authority through either an educational certification or their contribution to the community. Reach out to these people to be part of your meetup and present there, and you're going to capture their tribe as well. How to market a meetup event? Well, you can have cards that you can pass out that simply have a QR code that goes to your meetup group. You can market on Instagram. And for every meetup event that you have, you should also create a Facebook event that links back to that meetup. We actually utilize both Facebook, Eventbrite, and Meetup when we're creating these events. Now, let's talk about webinars for a minute. Webinars can be a great way to bring in a target audience, especially if you're on the wholesale or the consulting side. Webinars are fairly easy to host these days. Man, it's changed a lot, hasn't it? We have Zoom, we have GoToMeeting, all kinds of easier sources for you to conduct live webinars. There's also software that allows you to actually pre-record your webinar and then put it on these sites as if it is live. I, in general, like to do them live because then you get real interaction from people, which it provides a much larger value. But if you're going to be doing a lot of webinars, again, very important to remain consistent on the same day, the same time. So that's where pre-recording can come in handy, because you may not always be available every Wednesday or whatever, once a month. If you're going to utilize webinars, I do think that having a dedicated website for that webinar is really important, because you want to feed people through the sign-up process. And in general, if it's just a button on your site, people may not see the value in it because they just see it as sort of a brand promotion. If it has its own site, the title of which really gives people the feeling of what it's going to be about, then to me that's a much better way. I feel like we've gotten many more results by doing it that way, by creating a dedicated website, such as Hemp Business Builder. Look how you got here, right? So, and all these sort of apply to podcasts as well. There's a lot of great tools for podcasts. Remaining consistent is very important. I like podcasts that go to Spotify and iTunes, because those are really the two main places that people view podcasts. But if you don't have a lot of time, podcasting, really between creating a webinar and podcast, your media person is going to be pretty overwhelmed. Another great idea is just to reach out to other podcasters. There's a site called Haro, Help a Reporter Out. They actually send every day a link of topics that reporters are looking for and podcasters are looking for to have guests like that on their show. You should have basically a brief bio and a brief synopsis of what your expertise is and what you want to speak about. And reach out to podcasters both locally, whatever appeals, and send them this. And a lot of times what is very helpful is if you also send them a list of questions and answers, so that it makes their job much easier. They can pick and choose the questions that they want you to talk about. And you can already be, easy. It's easy for them. It's easy for you as well. So reach out to influencers, other hosts of webinars and podcasts, and leverage that as well to show that you're the expert inside of your niche education section, and that your brand is contributing back to the overall good, and you're going to capture your target if you do this successfully.